Welcome back to this already the final segment of Monday's Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Hope you're having a great day. Looking forward to chatting with my friend, Marc Krasney. He's with the Krasney Law Firm, and it's Krasney, Krasney, lawfirm.com. How are you, sir?
Doing well, Kevin. It's always a pleasure to be on your show.
Yeah, why don't we start off by just kind of giving the listener an update of what the Krasney Law Firm is all about.
Yeah, we do something totally different. So whatever someone thinks about a law firm, forget it. We are your outsourced legal counsel. So say you're a small, medium, even a large company who doesn't want to pay an in-house counsel salary, but you still have those needs where most companies do, you outsource that to my law firm. We become your in-house counsel, but on a monthly fee. So whether you use us or not, you pay a flat monthly fee, and you get access to us, lawyers who you can ask questions, you can send us contracts, we review things, we become part of the management team. And again, it's one flat monthly fee. There's no surprise billing. And we try our best to keep our clients out of litigation because to us, that's where the clients spend much of their money, and it's so unpredictable. And if we get, some prevention there and become part of the management team and discuss strategies early on, we can prevent long-term liabilities and legal expenses in lawsuits.
Now tell us what you got for us as far as a topic.
What I thought we'd talk about is what I think most of your companies and your listeners have, which are work products. Say it's your manual, your contract, something that your company has drafted. How do you protect it? Because so many times, here's what typically happens. You're an employee of a company. You want to go out on your own and start making that widget or do that service. What are you probably going to do with your contracts or any kind of materials needed for that business? Most people, and I'm sure your listeners will agree, most people will try to copy what their previous employer used in the business or look at a competitor and say, hey, I like that document. I'm just going to use it, white out, whatever the company name is, put my new name on there and just go with it because you know what? It worked for that business. It'll work for mine.
Right.
And so what do you do? What do you do as the owner of that work product?
Of the company that you've essentially had your materials stolen.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I get those phone calls probably once a month, every 2 months, where someone says, hey, an employee left, or some Yahoo out there is using my document. We wrote that, or we've been using that in our business. How do I get them to stop? Happens all the time, and frankly, there is serious case law and statutes about that, and that's where copyright protections, trademark protections come in, and hopefully the client has done some background work to ensure those protections are there, and then it makes it easier for us, the law firm, to send demand letters and let the person who stole the material know they're liable for damages. And depending on what the customer or client did to protect that document will help us figure out what kind of damages are allowed.
Yeah, interesting. So how common is this? Pretty common?
Absolutely. Think about all the people you know who've worked for a big company for a while and think, you know what, I can do this one little part of the business because I see a need. And so they go out and start their own business, and they'll take a document with them, or they'll take an employee manual, they'll take a contract, or even go to a competitor's contracts and take out even terms and copy, cut and paste verbatim. With word processing now, you can cut and paste pretty much anything, and it gets used. But lo and behold, a few months go by, and you think you're a competitor, you read a document that one of your other competitors has, or your customer sent to you from a competitor, and you go, wait, that looks so familiar to my document.
Yeah.
It happens often, and the simple answer is we want that phone call because that behavior is, one, the easiest answer is illegal. Two, it's actionable conduct where you can get damages. And so, for example, if you, the author of the work product, have done the proper steps to make sure it's a registered copyright, there's some presumptions for damages. And it's nice to be able to send that letter to the party who's done this and say, you must cease and desist, you must stop that behavior now, or. And then we give options, which is, one, pay the damages, depending on how this copyright's been filed, and two, attorney fees and other legal costs associated with that. And it's a much better proposition. There's also some common law rules where if I'm the author of that work product, by common law, I'm able to enforce protections because that's my stuff. And so we send a cease and desist letter, and a lot of times it works. Actually, most of the time it works. If not, we file a lawsuit.
Okay, so that's the typical steps. And I would say I would assume the cease and desist is probably pretty handy at stopping this.
Absolutely, and that's another nice thing to have a lawyer just on standby to call up on a Friday afternoon and say, hey, look what I found, handle it. And, we can get on stuff like that, and we send a cease and desist either by certified mail, or I send a process server out, knock on someone's door and say, here. And it says to someone, here's the conduct, here's what we've seen, here's what you must do, and we give a deadline. And depending on what's actually happened, there's other steps in there like restraining orders, depending on exactly what conduct has been done and what kind of violations we see. But, certainly the steps must be followed, and it's nice for that client to have a lawyer to call immediately and stop that conduct.
Mm-hmm. Are there any things that you can do as a business owner to prevent that kind of thing from even happening in the front end?
Not really. What I'd like to make sure listeners do is if it's a work product that is yours, one, it needs to be registered. So say, for example, you have some work that you've authored, your work product, that needs to be copyrighted. So somewhere down at the bottom, somewhere in a footer or at the back of that document or something, copyright and then put Kevin Price and the date. So somebody knows that's Kevin Price's work product. That's mine. I wrote it. I'm the author. That's the first step. Second step would be, you register a copyright, and, oftentimes you'll see that C with a circle on it. That's a copyright. Sometimes you see an R with a circle on it. That's a registered copyright. So if you register something, you have the ability to put that on there. If you have a trademark, say you have a business and you have a slick logo with different colors and, for example, McDonald's, those golden arches, nobody else can use those golden arches because they have a trademark on that. If somebody else goes out and uses that service mark, there's actionable conduct. So I would say if you have a trademark, do just like McDonald's. File it. Make sure nobody else can use that, and you protect that because associated with that trademark or copyright is your company's goodwill, and there's value to that. People want to steal your value.
I'm assuming for something like that, you're going to want an intellectual property attorney for some of that.
It depends. It depends how complex this is. A lot of general lawyers can handle most of the initial filings. Now, if there's a very specific dispute over an intellectual property, then certainly get a specialist involved. But oftentimes what I would say do is use your general counsel lawyer. Let that general counsel lawyer play quarterback and decide what other expert lawyers outside counsel needs to be consulted, because that's going to keep your costs down and it's going to help that client know what really is necessary and, like I said, keep the cost down.
Yep, really good stuff. Thanks so much for being with us. Marc Krasney, 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 lawfirm.com. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, do you want to encourage the listener to keep in mind that this show continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com, where you'll find great audio and video and more. And also, the best content here shows up over there at the national news website, usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow on Twitter. Have a great rest of your day. Spend it wisely right here on this station.